Welcome back. Great to have you for a discussion that is being had but doesn't maybe get as much attention as it should, although it's been very, very controversial. If the Wynne government has their way, and they will because they've got a majority government, your kids as early as next September will start learning a new sex ed curriculum. Great, you say? I want my kids to learn about sex in school. Do you know what they're going to be learning in school? By grade 6, or by the age of 6, so that would be around grade 1, they'll start learning about things like gay marriage. By age 12, which is grade 7, they could be learning about things like oral and anal sex. Do you think your 12-year-old is ready for that kind of lesson? Personally, I'm horrified. I don't want my kid learning that kind of thing in school. That's just me. Maybe you feel differently, but nonetheless, a lot of parents don't like this and they're fighting back. Jordan Kent joins me now because you started a petition. You're not a parent.
Yes,
you're a 19-year-old political activist, so I wonder what a guy like you cares about an issue like this for.
Well, the way I've seen it is that the Wynne government has decided they want to just railroad against the wishes of parents and against the wishes of the taxpayers. I mean, even the public consultation process there is issues with. And frankly, I just saw it and went, who's going to stand up for the moral integrity of our children? Definitely not the Wynne government.
Okay. Is it fair to say that we are in need of an overhaul to the sex ed curriculum in Ontario? Because there haven't been changes. Kids have access to sexual messaging. They can go to the internet, their friends talk. Let's not be naive. Kids are learning about sex because we sexualize them from a very early age because of things like Beyonce and that other one, that Miley Cyrus. I mean, they're learning about it.
Yeah, well, the thing is they're learning about it, but the question is, how young is too young to introduce kids to sex, and what is the rush? I mean, they learn about it out in culture, but how far can you go before you reach a point you can't handle? I mean, we've got cases right across Ontario of kids as far back as '98 going and molesting a 3-year-old. I mean, you know, it's scary to me, and I'm fighting back because I don't think that your 10-year-old should learn about anal sex.
All right. My issue with it is that as a parent, I feel like I should have a say.
Yes.
I think it's up to mom and dad to decide when it's right for their son or daughter to learn about sex. Because as a parent, what I believe may not be what someone else believes. So some other parent may think it's perfectly acceptable. They may be into BDSM and they may want their child to learn that. That's their choice. But I think what troubles a lot of parents is that what is good for some may not be good for all. And I would think that certain religious groups, Muslim families, Christian families, they don't want this kind of thing taught at all. And how are they going to be considered?
Well, the way that I've been pushing it with my petition is not that just don't, like there's a lot of groups out there saying, just don't teach the curriculum, abandon it, abandon it. I'm putting it out there that we need an opt-out clause in black and white in the bill for parents who do not want their child learning about it for religious or cultural reasons.
Yeah, well, the Liberal government doesn't seem to care what you think.
Exactly.
They are pushing this thing through. You found this documentation saying that they're going to start the consultation period November 12th.
Yes.
And the consultation is, I question the consultation because they're allowing one person per school picked by the principal. So I'm to assume that the principal may choose someone who has reflects their agenda?
Well, let me just say it this way. It's not even just one parent in the school. It's a member of the parent council that's being interviewed. So it has to be picked by the pick board and the principal, get together and decide this is the parent we want in there. My concern is if you're just cherry picking who's at the table, are you going to get a biased view on the subject?
Well, the answer would be yes.
Exactly. And
so would you then be okay with them selecting 10 random parents per school? I mean, would that be more fair? I don't understand why, as a taxpayer, why would they not send out a flyer to my house and allow mom and dad to look through it? And
exactly.
Here's what I'm okay. And then they can take that information and go back and form a curriculum.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I think should be done. I think it should not even be 10 parents. I think that they should send out a survey to all parents across the province and allow for a public discussion on the issues. Because let's face it, we want to sit down at the table with the government and say, this is what we want in the bill, this is what we don't, and they're not allowing for that process to take place because as we've seen with gas plants, we've seen with Orange, we're seeing now with sex education. They bulldoze through with no respect for the taxpayer.
So as far as you're concerned, what is the right age? What are you hearing parents would like to see?
Well, a lot of parents is very divided. There's three types of people. There's the ones who say don't teach my kid it, don't bring it up in school,
I'll
teach it myself, which is not realistic. Then you have the people who are saying, yeah, let's go for it, you know, let's completely push ahead with the education. Then there's others saying, well, you know, this is something that could be taught in high school, like, you know, grade 8, 9, and bring it up then when it's a more realistic time. So I'm, as a parent, I'm not exactly sure what would be the correct age. No, as a non-parent. As a non-parent, it wouldn't be my place to say where, and that's where I don't know. You've got a child. You've got children.
Well, I do have one that will be entering the school system, or maybe he'll be homeschooled. I don't personally think teachers, and I certainly don't think the government is the group that should be teaching my child or telling me what's good for them. I think it's on a case-by-case basis. I don't know how mature he'll be by grade 3. I don't know what I don't even know what his personality is. So I don't want to see a blanket policy going through, because what's good for my son may not be good for another child, and it's not up to me to tell another parent how to raise their child.
Exactly.
So it's not, therefore, it's not the government's place to tell me as a parent what my child has to learn. I'd be happy with math, science, history, and geography.
Well, can I give you the sad thing? Is that the government, instead of reviewing all subjects and picking the ones where students are failing, they're pushing ahead with sex education. I mean, as I've said before, what is the rush to get 8-year-olds learning about sex?
Okay, so what is it that you'd like to do? I mean, how do parents or how do folks watching find out more about your website?
Well, what I'd like everyone to do is to go take a look at my petition that's online, and just to kind of see exactly where I'm standing on it. Later on today, I'll be putting up a fan page, and we'll be looking at making ways to get the government to notice us, first of all, and second of all, to take real action. Because, I mean, even the London Free Press article that ran the other day, they're talking about the Mike Harris versus Kathleen Wynne. The Mike Harris was truly just plain old sex education. This is pushing a personal agenda on your kids. And what parents need to decide is, do we want the government teaching our kids what sex education should be?
Well, it's certainly contentious, because I've met with parents who are like, hallelujah, bring it on in, because I don't want to have to teach my kid about it. And I've heard a lot of voices on the other side saying, absolutely not. I am not comfortable with this, and I better have a say. And the fact that you can't opt out and parents aren't being consulted, I think should be a bit of a eyebrow raiser.
Yes.
All right, good. Thanks for coming in, Jordan. I really appreciate it.
Welcome.
We'll get that information up on our webpage. It's a controversial curriculum. I don't care how open-minded you are, at least you should know what your kids could be learning by next September. The province is not your parents. They should not be telling you what is good for your kids. That's just my say. You might feel differently.